Hey guys, welcome to Dragon Tooth Miniatures. I'm your host Bill, and today I'm joined by Colonel Jade. From
Hey.
yeah, and this suspicious Russian guy, which I've forgotten the name of. Sorry.
Yeah, no biggie. It's Comrade Ladle.
Yeah. So his name is he does have a name. His name is Ari. And,
Yep.
he's a local mate of mine from the local LGS. And today we're just gonna be chilling and painting and hobbying and stuff like that. So today I'm painting up a squad of these lads, which are Tyranid warriors. I've got a game on Saturday with them, so they're gonna be on the field. So hopefully I can get them painted or at least half decently by Saturday. So send off them, and yeah, it's all chill, all good. So Ari asked me a very interesting question. Would you like to repeat that question?
Question. All right. I was actually wondering if GW and what their opinions were about these third-party sort of hobby hangouts, and what they're kind of up to and how they sort of work.
As far as I can tell, they're usually quite okay with it. If they're very forgiving when it comes to hobbying and stuff like that. If this camera will actually focus, come on, focus. There we go. But they have a real issue when it comes to anything to do with IP infringement. So this is a GW model. This is obviously a GW model. I'm not claiming this is my model in any way. I did not I did not in plastic injection mold this thing myself. This is a GW product. But they have a real problem with 3D animation, 3D animators, anyone that does music, and people that are reading out GW books, because that they consider that stealing, according to their IP policy.
Well, most of it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
But it is still kind of a dick move, because we're in the age of the internet, and kind of everything's on the internet. So they know that all these fan animations, all this goodwill that the community has, and all this creativity that the community has, is really helping them out in terms of their underlying sales revenue and getting GW out there more accessible, and more people getting into it. But they've decided to pull the plug on that. So I think Disney used to do that a lot. They were quite aggressive with their IPs and stuff like that. Interestingly enough, nowadays they're actually quite chill about it. They're quite chill with animation projects, fan animation, fan movies, on Star Wars even. It's the only time which I've heard of Disney actually pursuing a fan animator is if they've been very blatant about it. If they're oh, this is a movie from the new Star Wars movie. This is the entire movie clip. This is the entire movie, all 2 hours of the new, of the new trilogy, and just post it on YouTube.
Well,
that blatant. Yeah.
Say, but as a former, person who used to work with GW, do you think maybe their mindset is that instead of having people in the community sort of promote and advertise their image, if they just took over that and promoted and advertised their image, they would save and make a lot more cash? You reckon that's their reasoning behind all of this?
What do you mean?
Well, for example, if you have some bloke who makes very good 3D animations, right? And he is spreading the word about, Warhammer or something, and that is, people to the community, which will probably buy stuff from GW. reckon in GW's mind, they're thinking that cutting out the middleman, the 3D animator, and making them work for GW, they would be able to get even more money because, well, instead of having him do his own thing, he does what GW wants.
Okay. There are pros.
Weirdly phrased.
Yep. So there are pros and cons to that. So the pros of that are yes, it is nice to see like an animator actually get like a proper job from GW and stuff like that, and to be able to achieve that is obviously an amazing thing. Con of that, as soon as you work with GW, you're very heavily restricted on what you can and cannot do, and the marketing team is pretty full on at GW. So to the point where certain music, they will change certain scenes and certain music running in the background just because they feel like, oh, it could be construed as being too aggressive or too too offensive to some people, and it has no lyrics. So they're very careful about these things. So it as with a lot of things, like once you start like being a creative and you get hired by a large a multinational company, you can kiss your creative freedoms goodbye. So it's a lot of like it's a lot of the if you start if you're fans and you're like an animator and your fans really like your original animations, and you start working for GW, you won't have the same style anymore. You definitely will not have the same style anymore.
So I'm actually a animator myself, so that's kind of ironic. I'm a content creator, but not in the well-known traditional sense of making a YouTube channel or something. I work for other companies, so I make very short, very basic animations and videos for Australian commercial companies, and it's been my experience that as soon as you join a company and you start, they hire you for your creativity, but once you're there, that creativity goes straight out the door and you are required to make whatever they tell you to make.
Yeah. Think about it, that does make sense. I mean, if you hire someone to advertise for you, you would probably have a personal image of yourself in mind that you want to be seen as, not necessarily the same as what the animator sees you as. So, from a certain perspective, it does make sense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about the whole fan animation community, because it provides quite a raw, unfiltered view into what people see the Warhammer hobby as. So it may be not the prettiest view,
Yeah, could be very damaging to GW.
Speaking of not very pretty views, I think I've figured out how to turn my camera on.
All right, let's do it.
Hey, there I am.
Hello! Oh, glorious moustache, man. I'm purposely hiding my face because nobody wants to see my ugly mug. So.
Yeah, well, I've been in lockdown for the better part of 2 years, so all kind of pretense of looking after yourself and being I guess, active. Being active and taking care of your appearance has kind of gone out the window. So.
Well, we do wear face masks most of the time, don't we?
Yeah, true.
But I haven't shaved in the better part of 2 years because nobody's going to see my face.
Really? Blimey.
Yeah.
Usually try to shave about once or twice a month.
Yeah,
Right. Hubert is
So what did you used to do for GW?
Me? Oh, I was a store manager.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah. So I ran my own Games Workshop store over here. And yeah, it was great while it lasted. But honestly, like as soon as COVID hit, they kind of changed directions in a way that was a bit like, what's going on? This is weird. This is not the GW I kind of like first envisioned joining.
Well, surely GW's profits have gone through the roof with everybody being stuck at home, and I've certainly noticed a massive increase in the amount of YouTube channels that are painting miniatures and you know, doing board games and stuff like that. So surely they've made a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Profits have gone up, but it's only temporary. That's the thing. So as soon as like COVID stops and countries start opening up, then they'll start seeing like, you know, the ramifications of what they've done to alienate and distance, like, you know, people, community, and stifle creativity, all that sorts of jazz. It's always like one of those things where like sometimes they have a really bad habit of going a bit too far, like really too far. And we've seen this kind of thing before. Back in the early, like, you know, 2000s to about like 2006, 2008, something like that, when GW was, you know, kind of did not want to communicate with anyone, didn't really support the community, yeah, and was kind of like really like insular and alienating everyone. Now it's kind of like the same but different.
Heard they're really concerned about the 3D printing and the proxies and stuff.
Yeah. So 3D printing and proxies. Here's the thing. So most people don't really want to 3D print an entire model. What most people want to do with 3D printing is they want to, like, let's say I have a homebrew Space Marine chapter. What I want to do is I want to design and print my own shoulder pads for them, because that's really cool. I want them to be represented like that, because the other option to that is I have to like hand paint that. I have to hand paint that symbol on a tiny little shoulder pad.
There's also the green stuff sculpting. I've just started getting into that, and it is like it's fun, but it's super tough and it takes a long time.
Yeah. So if I have like, you know, if I have the option of, like, you know, I could do like in a simple CAD program, I can replicate the like a Space Marine shoulder pad, because it is a very simple shape, and I can put a bunch of shapes together on like the shoulder pad and like create my my custom chapter symbol, and really, you know, and just print like, you know, however many squads I need of that. That is a massive time saver for me, and it would probably look a lot better than me trying to hand paint it or, like, you know, green stuff all of them.
Yeah, some of the freehand painting I've seen on, you know, Space Marines, like a lot of the Warhammer stuff, just incredible. I don't know how they're able to see and paint such small details. I can barely see just a regular 28mm miniature face, you know, let alone painting, you know, tiny scars and stubble and things like that. It just blows me away.
Yeah, it's all about time and practice, honestly. Like, a lot of like, you know, the really good painters, they started off like exactly where you are, dude. Like, you know, nobody was born with, like, you know, a golden beam in their hand and just just clutching that. yeah, it's all about like patience and just like practicing, dude. Like and just being very cross-eyed for most of it.
Yeah, well, I basically taught myself just from watching YouTube. Obviously, watching all those big painting channels like Miniac and Goober Town.
Hobbies, nice.
Yeah, Goober Town and Ninjon. He's pretty great too.
Ninjon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ninjon's good. Yeah. I used to. Did he used to Did he used to be on Did he used to be on Mini Wargaming? Can't remember. Was he?
I know that him and God, what's the guy's name from Miniac? Scott. They live in the same city or not far from one another, and I think that's sort of how they met. And then so Ninjon, I think Scott ended up talking John is his name into making a YouTube channel, because it was so good. I think Scott says like he's a better painter than I am, and I think he's entered into a few golden demons and stuff like that. I'm not sure that he's won, but he's certainly pretty good.
I mean, yeah, man. Like, yeah. Honestly, like, YouTube's a free. It's a semi-free platform.
Semi-free. Yeah.
Semi-free, yes. And yeah, you're more than welcome to just like post whatever you want, as long as it's not super offensive and it's not like calling any particular group of people out.
You won't have to worry about that sort of stuff with me, that's for sure.
Oh no, I'm just talking in general, Mr.
Oh right.
There.
Well, I mean,
no sending people to the gulags. Thank you very much. No political dissidents here.
all right. Whatever you say.
Oh no. Whoa, Discord. I love you, Discord.
What happened?
Discord was like, no. Just had a bit of a moment. Like, Discord really had a little bit of a moment. So, just check everything's alright on OBS. Everything looks alright.
You're just gonna crop that out later?
I might just keep it in. Just because it's like,
Comedic value.
genuine.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? How after saying not to send anyone to the gulags, you disappear.
Yeah. Yes. I was obviously like, I was censored by a million Russian hackers and their,
Hacking.
and their, iPhones,
Yeah.
like, and their i3s in Siberia.
Of course.
Oh, jeez. All right. So, guys, so if you don't know, so I'm just airbrushing the basic color of the skin tones that I'm going to be using for these warriors using an airbrush after I've zenithal primed it. So, luckily today it was a pretty alright weather, I would say, to zenithal, but usually I would be using the airbrush to zenithal instead of just using a spray can. Yeah.
So that I've noticed the little airbrush you're using there, Bill. How do those ones go? I'm just about at that point where I need to buy myself an airbrush. but I don't quite have about $800 or $1,000 to drop on it. So I have been looking at those, but I have heard that they weren't that great. So I'm surprised to see you using it.
This is $125, and it works pretty alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the brand I have for this is a little bit of a plug for them, I guess, is this brand up here. It's a Made to Over-Era Intelligent Auto Airbrush. It's intelligent.
I see. Major leaps in technology.
Yes.
Check your email on it or something.
Yeah. And yeah, my thing on it, my version on it is pretty good. It's pretty good. It does the job really well, and with the exception of it obviously has its limits. It's a battery-powered airbrush. It'll probably go for about an hour and a half, and then it'll go like, no, it just doesn't have the pressure anymore. You can't really adjust the pressure on it. It's pretty low pressure. It's about like 25 to 29 psi, I would say.
Yep.
But it's good enough to get paint out as long as you thin it down, or if you're like me using contrast, and contrast loves to be airbrushed out.
So I had a question about the zenithal and stuff, right?
Right. Hold that question. I'm gonna wash this out first because yeah.
All right. Well.
So what are you working on at the moment, Ari?
I'm painting Trigon, a Tyranid miniature.
Alright, cool.
And what are you working on?
I'm making a display base for my brother's D&D miniature. He's a human paladin. This is the guy here. I've customized him with green stuff and stuff. It used to have like a sword, a long sword.
Yeah.
And so I sort of turned it into a halberd. And the idea is that he's going to sit on this, magnetized onto this little display base, and you can sort of take him off when he wants to be able to play. So
Pretty epic miniature on the base there. It's very interesting.
thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Is that the one you were asking about, like the skin on?
Yeah. I'm a lot slower than you guys. I noticed how prolific you are in posting what you've been painting and stuff, and I'm like, God, man, how do these guys work so fast? I've been working on this guy for maybe 2 months.
It's a lot of batch painting, like Ari said, but also a lot of just planning and time efficiency. It's a lot of that actually.
Yeah, especially I guess you've got to be really efficient when you're batch painting like you guys do with the armies.
Yeah, sort of. Well, I mean, speed comes at the cost of quality, for me at least.
Yeah, I think it's the same for everyone. If you want good quality miniatures, you kind of have to slow down a lot.
Yeah, and even still, that kind of doesn't work for me because I get sort of towards the end. I've done my base coats, I've done my highlights, my blends and stuff, and then I should be going in and glazing and doing all the fancy stuff. And sometimes I just go, it's done. I'm done with it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's more than fair, honestly.
And honestly, I don't actually know what glazing is.
Oh.
So,
I know what it is, and
glazing is.
Yeah, okay. I'll try and explain what it is, but I certainly don't know how to do it properly. But glazing and layering are basically the same thing. It's just different ratios of water and paint. When you're layering, you want your sort of viscous kind of paint that that comes off the brush nice and easy. And when you're glazing, I guess you're basically painting sort of coloured water. Really, really light amount of paint in with the water, and you're just building it up, color up really slowly, and it takes forever. It's a really slow process, and I've only just sort of started doing it, and I kind of suck at it. But the first step to being awesome at something is sucking at it. So
Definitely.
Yep, absolutely.
So the question about the zenithal and stuff, right? So zenithal itself, does it actually help with the paint, or is it more just like a guideline where you should be putting your shadows and stuff?
Both.
So it actually does help.
Yep, it helps.
Yep.
A lot, yeah. Actually.
I noticed a massive difference when I first started painting miniatures. I was glooping that paint on to the model like everybody else, with the thin down a little bit of water. But once you start to do that zenithal priming, it makes all your base coats look so much better. They look more realistic because of that. And it is maybe ever so slight, but that lighter shades and darker shades in the recesses, it really makes a big difference, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
High Fleet Kraken?
My own High Fleet.
Oh. Any cool name for it?
Originally I wanted to go with High Fleet Jormungandr. So back in the day, Jormungandr wasn't really super well defined. But I don't know. Now it's just like random unnamed High Fleet 234 something. So as you can see, I did not think to charge this thing, so it's already running out of battery right now. But
That's a shame.
yeah, I'll give it a little quick charge or something like that.
I'm actually really impressed because the reviews that I saw about those little handheld ones, the guy was saying, I find it really tough to paint, individual parts of a model. And so, yeah, I can see you're doing exactly that. So he was saying, you can only use it for zenithal priming, really, but you can't really use it to paint. But man, that looks pretty good from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, it's just practice. So before I got an airbrush, I got really proficient in using dry brush techniques for this kind of thing.
Yep.
And so I was already very aware of over shading and stuff like that, and using that as much as I can to really leverage the airbrush and its limitations. So it's a question of what you've practiced, because oh my god, the internet, stop being
the internet.
Oh well, you guys can see that.
Looks
Yeah,
decent.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
see, like, you know, there's a little bit of overspray here and there, but like honestly, you just kind of like learn to deal with the overspray and like learn to, you know, work with it in a way.
Just touch it up if you really want to.
You can touch it up at the very end if you really want to, but like yeah. So key thing about like an airbrush, battery powered or not, is basically the double action here. Essentially, you press down, air shoots through. The further you pull back, the more paint feeds through it.
Yep.
So you want to kind of like, there's a little knob at the back, right? Which you can just kind of adjust to get kind of like, it'll put resistance on this. So you can kind of feel your way on like how much pressure you need. And that comes with practice, honestly. So like when you practice with like, you know, little like what the distance is, what you need, and you know what position you need, like, you know, how much pressure you need. The more accurate you can get. Obviously, there's a limitation to an airbrush. Like an airbrush will never be as accurate as like, you know, you actually painting something with a brush. Like if you're trying to dot an eye, you don't use an airbrush. Don't do that. That's a totally unrealistic expectation. But if you're just doing like, you know, turret carapaces, stuff like that, and it's like, you know, whatever. It's like, yeah, it does a pretty good job.
I feel like I would make good use of it just doing colored, you know, like blending base colors together.
Oh yeah, you can certainly do that. It really depends on what you want to do with it. I kind of like using them as a way to as a way to base coat, and then start like doing weathering and blending, and then I'll shade the thing, and then I'll call it done. Sometimes I won't even like highlight things. I just like, oh, it's done, good enough. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, you don't really have to highlight if you use very watered-down paints. So what I learned when painting my highlight fleet paint with quilting.
Ari, that is a sin. Apologize to all those professional painters that have to highlight everything.
Oh, no. You definitely need to highlight if you want something to look like good. But if you really water down your paint and you have a white primer or undercoat, if it's very watered down, on the very sharp edges, the paint usually doesn't want to go on them, so you have a bit of your white shining through. I'm not wrong.
Hello. Sorry, I need to very quickly like wash the paint off out of this thing, because yeah, like
Oh no. One miscalculation and now I'm painting High Fleet Hydra.
What happened?
I accidentally forgot what Leviathan looked like, and well, I just finished washing all the skin.
Oh, okay.
Well, no biggie.
What was the verdict on the skin? What was the verdict on the skin?
Oh, it's meant to be. Well, actually, I could salvage it, but do I want to? Because Highfleet Leviathan has white skin with a sort of pinkish, recesses. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that, so I just basically base coated with Carobug Crimson wash, so now it's just purplish.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yes. So my airbrush is out of commission right now. While it's charging. Yeah, hopefully it'll charge pretty soon. I'm gonna do like texture work. So this is a Vallejo texture mud, brown mud for acrylics, and it comes in a ginormous 200 ml tub, and I like it. It costs the same as the GW texture.
Well, I've got some of the Vallejo muds as well. It's not them, that's pigment. Yeah.
So yeah, remember we were talking about the sculpting bits for your miniatures?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I just found my hand-sculpted Su 100.
Oh yeah, SU 100, yeah.
Would you like to see?
Sure, yeah, why not? Turn up the camera.
Yeah, it looks horrible. Well, now in hindsight. Oh, here's me. In my room.
Hello, good sir.
Hey, Harry.
Hey. So, here it is. Just the gun. Take it out. So, I was sort of making it to the scale of a Lehman Russ. That's why it's so big. Yeah.
What's written on the side?
The right side, Боевая подруга, which is basically, подруга is like a comrade, but, more feminine. And Боевая is, during a time of war. So, comrade during a time of war, or during a time of battle. At the front it just says forward.
That's so they know which way to drive it.
Yep. Oh, of course. I remember sculpting this. And the proportions are so wrong. Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day I thought this was epic, and I still think it's pretty cool, but wow, the proportions. If you want to see a size comparison, here's the T3485 from another, I think it's...
Or bolt action.
Yeah, bolt action. The Su 100, oh wait, no, I'm thinking of a different tank. Am I? No. Yeah, its chassis was meant to be the same chassis as this one. You can see the slight difference.
There is certainly a difference there, mate.
No, not too much, but I think it's a bit off scale for tabletop use in bolt action.
Yeah, it'll be just like that thing.
Perhaps an ISU would probably. Perhaps an ISU is more suiting for it.
Yeah.
The title of ISU. It's a bit too big for a suit.
Possibly. So yeah.
Oh, now I have to get my black paint to paint the carapace. So, what do you think of the new rules for Tyranids in the little booklet that's going to come out soon? I think it's pretty epic.
I think it's pretty epic, but I also think, like, why couldn't you just release a codex, please?
You see, it's power creep. The weaker we are now, the stronger we will be later.
No,
Hopefully.
it's gonna be like everyone will buy this, and in about 6 months we'll get our full codex release.
Yeah, I mean, the only shame that I experience is that it's
It'll
Leviathan.
probably supersede this book, the new Octarius book, and it's gonna be real annoying.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's exactly what happened to the Blood Angels with their psychic awakening. It's instantly when they got the new codex, everything was like, nope, you can't use it anymore.
oh really? They oh. Well, I hope they don't do that to like the cool things, which are like, you know, the new synapse benefits and the warlord relics.
What happens is basically as soon as we get our new codex,
Yeah.
the previous books are invalid. Everything in the previous books are invalid.
God. That's a shame.
So I think the rules are cool. I think they're pretty sweet. But I don't know. I'm probably gonna buy it just to support, like, you know, just to support my local LGS. Or I just might buy, like, you know, some other, like, you know, random stuff from them.
Well, I'm getting it because I want to try out some of the new rules, and hopefully there's some lore.
Yeah. I will be, yeah, I'll find my, you know, my own ways of attaining the book.
Interesting.
Yes. Because I'm like, really? Now to carry 3 books to a game? 3 books.
Why 3? You got the, you know, the...
Psychic Whip, and now Wars on Octarius. Oh, 4! The big rule book. There you go.
So I guess if you're pretty serious about your Warhammer and 40k or whatever, you have to have a pretty decent case to carry all your stuff around in, right?
Definitely.
I need a backpack for just the books, man. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the books aren't like, you know, like soft cover. They're all hardcover, and they're all like, you know, 200 pages or more.
Well, arguably, hardcover is better. It's like the...
Oh no, the potato. Oh no. Dude, repeat that again.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't hear.
Well, I was just saying that hardcover are less likely to be damaged, and they're probably a bit better.
No, hardcover is really bad for wargaming because it's too inflexible. Like hardcover is nice if you want a collector's edition. Soft cover for game, like for transportation wise, is just much easier. They're just much more flexible.
They're bendy and everything.
It doesn't matter. You use it.
Yeah, then your pages will
Have you
cringe.
seen what happens to a hardcover book when, like, you know, you smack it around in a bag for a couple of years? It doesn't look very good by the end of it.
Maybe.
I know for a fact that my like old 7th edition like codex, when I was being very competitive with my Tyranids, looks like somebody took like a paper shredder to it.
Oh, say, do you still have your 7th edition codex?
Yes, I do.
Could I borrow to have a read of the lore?
Sure. I think it's the
thank
same.
you. Nah, because like they had the cool little snippets and stuff like, oh, you know, on this planet there were Tyranids and they were like that because this reason. And
Did they remove
these space marines, I think they every time they have a new little bit of lore. Like for the Octarius book, it was about Tyranids who were invading the was it some cool planet which had an ocean?
I meant like in the new codex, they removed the little snippets of lore.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have the new codex.
Oh, it's exactly the same as the new codex then. I'm pretty sure I've read that thing enough times to go like, yep, okay, the lore's the same. Pretty sure. But yeah, of course you can you can borrow it.
Nice.
Jeez.
how would you suggest dry brushing black, with white or gray?
Gray.
Wouldn't white have a bit more contrast?
No. Too stark. It'll look very scratchy.
Well, I'll take your word.
Yep.
So you guys are both in Singapore at the moment?
Yep.
Yeah. What's the situation with the lockdowns and stuff over there? We're just about to get out at 12 o'clock tonight. So for me, I think it's like 40 minutes.
Head down to the pub?
I would love to, man, but it's gonna be midnight. So yeah, I've got to work tomorrow. So
Down to the pubs, mate.
oh, look, I'd love to, but yeah, it's I got to work tomorrow. So,
Oh yeah, fair enough.
but yeah, we've been in lockdown for feels like 6 months. It might not be that long.
Yeah. The situation here is that we did have a lockdown-like situation. It was called the circuit breaker. That was for about 2 months, and then we've been like on and off on enhanced restrictions to like very fairly lax restrictions.
Yeah.
Because our mostly because our COVID cases keep increasing, and we are living in a very, very small, tightly condensed country. So
Yeah.
and there's not that many people here. So it's like, I think we're on like 3,004 was yesterday, 3,004 for that day,
Yeah.
3,400 cases. And it's like,
They've been saying over here in Australia that like Singapore was the country to be like, and then when you guys opened back up again and it came back, it was like, oh shit.
yeah. It's basically like it's impossible to be like 100% free of COVID, because it'll still be in the community somewhere.
Yeah, I think we're all just coming to that realization as a global population.
Yeah, it's too late. Like you can't eradicate it now. We just have to treat it like the common cold, like in what is essentially that. And if you have a high enough vaccinated percentage of the population, then it should be all right. But here's the thing. I think Singapore's on 89% vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and we're going back into restrictions. Because there is a fear that like with the continued increase of cases and the amount of people still going into like ICU and stuff like that, they're gonna overwhelm the medical system.
Yeah, right.
And that's a country with 89% fully vaccinated. So
That's crazy. I mean, we're at 70 here in Victoria, and that was the number that they were trying to get to. They're like, oh, we've got to be like Singapore. Singapore's at 80%. We can get there. And then Singapore, came back out of or back into lockdowns again, and we're all like, oh shoot. So if you get to 80, it doesn't mean that we're free.
yeah, like it's more so like it's a symptom of like a how do I put this of a not so healthy population, of a not so healthy lifestyle. Because one thing that COVID does pretty well is if you do have an underlying condition, if you do have pre-existing conditions, that's mostly the thing that's gonna get you. COVID makes it like pretty bad, pretty shit for you.
Yeah.
But most of the time, at least from what I've heard, it's the pre-existing conditions, the conditions you've probably been living with your entire life that gets you in the end. But I'm no medical expert. Like I'm just going by what I've heard in the news.
Yeah. So, like, it must have, been a real bummer lockdowns and stuff for Warhammer players, because you've got to catch up and play with someone. Is there any way for you to play one another when you can't be in the same room together?
There is, but it's not that good because we have the tabletop simulator, so you could technically play Warhammer online, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah, I find the tabletop simulator just really difficult to use, like moving that camera around and stuff.
Yeah, it is a little bit janky because it wasn't designed from the ground up to play this kind of game. But it does work, and you just kind of have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. Improvise, adapt, and overcome, just like what we have to do now. Like we're back down to only 2 people for social gatherings, any kind of gatherings now. So those are the enhanced restrictions. So we've just had a bit of an extension on that. So now we're gonna be on that till November.
Well, basically everything apart from supermarkets here in Australia has been sort of closed down. So haven't been able to get a haircut for about 6 months. So I'm looking forward to just getting a haircut and going to a restaurant and eating a steak.
Oh yeah, fair. That's fair. I have not had a haircut in like 6 months by choice. like yeah, I'm thinking about growing out a mullet. Like bring the mullet back.
Yeah, nice. Bring it back.
This is in the front, part in the back.
Yeah. It's a popular haircut again here in Australia. It's like all the Australian footballers and stuff are sporting the mullet these days.
Yeah, that's fair. The mullet is an amazing. It's definitely a haircut.
Definitely an amazing haircut.
Yes. Yeah, if the AFL would like to sponsor me, yes, all their players do have amazing haircuts. Yeah.
Well.
You've been quiet for a while, are you? Doing okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. Just painting the carapace with extra thin black so then the white can show through.
Alright.
Can you achieve something like that with an airbrush?
Well, achieve what?
So, when you paint with very thin paint, and if you have a white undercoat, the white kind of shines through the sharp edges. Is it possible to do that?
Brush, you won't get like super sharp edges. It's more faded. It's more like like blended together.
Interesting.
So airbrushing, again, like you're not gonna get like sharp edges with an airbrush. It'll be faded. It'll be blended into like whatever like the next color is. But it's a technique that people really want to do. So.
No. I don't suppose you could freehand with an airbrush, could you?
I know some people use an airbrush to assist in freehands. There's and I know for a fact that if you customize choppers, motorcycles. The freehand they do is mostly done with an airbrush, but that's because it's on a motorcycle, not a
which is rather big, not a little person.
Yes. So
just a slight size difference.
There's definitely a slight size difference there.
Yeah.
So your mileage may vary.
Look, I love miniature painting, but the thing that I love the most is making bases. That is just my favourite thing to do.
Interesting. Usually people prefer like painting the person off the base.
Yeah, I know. I think it's because with the painting miniatures, it's kind of like colouring in the lines. Whereas making the base is the opportunity to be a bit more creative and do something different, and
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, with an airbrush, it's probably a lot easier to blend and stuff, right?
Yep.
That's. And do you think you save time in using an airbrush, or does that time that you save end up costing you in like cleaning and changing the paint and stuff?
So with me, right, like I just cleaning and changing the paint doesn't take much time at all, because the amount of like blending I would need to do, like I know how much blending I would need to do to achieve the same thing, and it's a lot more time than like cleaning this airbrush when I need to change paints, like a lot more time. So I would definitely say like it does save a very considerable amount of time. And if you have the dosh to spend on a decent one of these battery powered ones, so you don't have to buy a massive compressor, and you can practice it out.
That's the thing that puts me off buying an airbrush, is buying a massive compressor that is going to be super loud. It's probably I'm not going to be able to paint at night time because I'll keep my girlfriend up. So I'm actually intrigued about one of these handheld ones now after seeing somebody use it.
Oh, there you go.
So can't you charge it up beforehand, the compressor?
Huh?
Yeah, can't you compress air into storage or something, and then use that?
Okay, yeah, like a storage tank or something, and then it just
yeah.
Scuba tank.
There are some airbrushes that use like an aerosol can, but you have to keep buying aerosol cans. Like a compressed compressed air.
Yeah. Can't be that expensive, can it?
Well, I would say in the long term, like getting just like a battery-powered airbrush would just be real easy, real simple. Okay.
Rather than buying air.
Rather than literally buying air. I don't know. I'd feel pretty bad about buying air in a can.
Well, it's compressed.
It would be like an expense where I'd be like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to justify this expense for the year.
Well, you're painting little men. Little plastic men. So.
Yeah, but painting little plastic men gives me joy.
Buying compressed air does not.
Buying air does not.
Well, then you're doing it wrong.
We're not that dystopian yet, where we have to buy air to live.
Yeah, just give it 6 months.
Well. This dragon has so many scales.
Yeah, I painted a dragon in January this year. Actually, I'll grab it and I'll show you. Like the first ever dragon I ever painted, but after painting it, I swore I'd never paint another one because of just the amount of scales and wings and stuff. So
That looks very nice, especially the wings.
yeah, it's got like a Delarauni pearlescent inks. It's like this sort of like metallic inks. Blending those together, it came out really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I saw it on your Instagram. It's freaking awesome, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's one of the first sort of bigger miniatures I tried to paint.
Well, your hard work shows, man.
Okay. The gold and the chest really add the finishing touches.
Yeah, I was like, I saw somebody else make a treasure base on YouTube somewhere, and so I was like, oh, how can I like one up this dude somehow? Like, how can I take what he did and make it even sort of better? So I started making little chests out of like cardboard and sticks and junk, and that's half the fun in making the bases and stuff is using bits and pieces of junk and rubbish and offcuts and things to put it together and turn it into something else. That's pretty cool, I reckon.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool too. Probably like I remember a time when GW used to teach people how to do that in their White Dwarfs. I think I've got one of them right here, actually. Hold on.
Well, GW would actually teach people to make terrain out of non-GW stuff.
Yeah, back in the day, man. Back in the day.
Wow.
Get my old White Dwarf.
It's a bit surprising to look back into history, which isn't actually that far back, and be like, wow, this stuff's changed quite a bit.
Yeah, I think
not too old, but so this is what the White Dwarf used to look like in 2015. So this is when Imperial Knights first came out.
Really?
Yeah. So this thing is tiny, very thin. It's basically just an entire page about people's painting and also what people's done for games and different games that you know. That's it.
How good would it be to be a photographer for White Dwarf? That would be such an awesome job.
Yeah, I would say that's a really awesome job as well.
No, but you have to get all the angles and lighting and stuff.
Compared to getting the right angles on people, I would take a plastic toy soldier any day.
Yeah, you can move them around and boss them around and tell them what to do, whereas people, it's a little bit tougher sometimes.
Yeah, definitely
a lot tougher.
I used to be an animal photographer, believe it or not.
Oh, and even worse.
Yeah, I used to.
That's a golden rule in the film industry: animals and kids.
Yeah, I used to. Part of my job was photographing puppies once a week. And it sounds like the most amazing job in the world, and certainly was a lot of fun, going to work and then just going and spending time with puppies for 2 hours. But trying to, because while you're going and playing with puppies, you still have to produce a certain amount of photos, and Cuppies just don't give a shit about that you've got to take photos. They, they do their own thing.
They really do not.
Alright guys, well, really nice to meet you and awesome to hang out and talk painting. I know my girlfriend is sick to death of me talking to her about miniatures, so it's good to talk to somebody that knows about minis.
Yeah,
I
man.
would imagine so.
Yeah.
It's been nice like meeting you too. I'm planning on doing this quite frequently as well. So if you're gonna be hobbying like every day, just hop on and we'll be on.
Cool, man. Yeah. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. I'll hit you guys up probably sometime next week and join in again if that's all right.
Yeah, hopefully.
Absolutely no problem, dude.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm not going to the pubs. I'm going to go to bed. So.
Well, good night.
Man.
Catch you later, guys.
All right,
Yep,
catch you later, dude. See ya. Have a good
Bye.
night. Yes. Mr. Ari. Yes.
Yes.
More questions for me about painting this stuff?
Perhaps.
Oh, ask away, dude.
What places would be appropriate to have heat distressed metal on? Like I would assume machine gun barrels, but maybe flamethrowers.
Flamethrowers, yes. Las guns, laser weapons, las cannons,
Last count.
usually.
Or
Anything that shoots like a laser weapon or a plasma weapon that you know is gonna get real hot. Bolters, you can.
But they have a very small little bevel thingy, so it'd be kind of hard to blend blue and gold.
But you can also do it on like big guns, like the big anti-aircraft guns.
Oh yeah.
Those are really nice to do.
Would they get hot?
I would say so, yeah.
Because I mean, if you think about it, if like a basilisk's sort of gun wouldn't really get hot, well, why would an anti-aircraft gun get hot?
Because high volume of fire.
Perhaps.
A basilisk maybe fires one round maybe every 30 seconds.
30 seems a bit excessive. Maybe every 12 seconds.
Bro, it's manual loaded.
Yeah, so were Soviet tanks. Well, most of the tank destroyers, at least. Most of them
Yeah,
were.
and they couldn't fire once every 12 seconds.
15. This is Warhammer. Like, a guardsman is meant to be almost an elite soldier by today's standards.
It's not. But basically, think of it like this, right? Like most militaries will boast about a 15-second reload time. In actual combat, it's more like 30.
Probably.
It's really more than 30, more like 30.
Yeah, I would assume the adrenaline really doesn't help when it comes to reloading, because your hands would be shaking and everything.
And also the noise of combat, because it's different now, with autoloaders and stuff like that. But a lot of
doubt-
times, like even with like modern day radios, on radio headsets on each crew member, it's pretty hard to hear what the hell like the tank commander is like saying. So you need a second or two to process.
Yeah, definitely.
He's like even saying to you.
And I assume that's why tank commanders are usually the ones who are in charge of the weapon. Well, back in the day, at least.
No, that kind of multitasking is real dangerous, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, I would assume on a tank, like if the tracks are gone or something else happens, well, it is what it is. You may or may not get cover from your comrades. They might try to help you, but the main gun, well, you'd usually want like the wisest person of the crew to sort of be in charge of who's getting shot, where they're shooting, how they're shooting.
Yeah, but
So it would make sense.
You do have a gun for that. Oh, it depends, man. Because the commander is supposed to be like, I think the commander can take over for the radio operator if they're out of action. But the commander is not supposed to take over for like the driver or gunner or the loader for that matter. Because his primary role is to command. If he doesn't command, the tank cannot function properly. You can maybe you can call. I mean, you can of course tell your driver to go go down to 300 meters down the road. We're getting out of here, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you can go off and do something else while you're doing it. But technically you're not supposed to because that's really dangerous. Well, a minute, I'm just gonna clean this out. That's pretty good, yeah. So I achieved my objective today, even though I was a bit late, getting on here of I've basically 5 minutes now. So tomorrow I'll probably start working on some weathering and stuff like that once I've fully charged this battery.
Weathering on a carapace? So scratches and bumps?
On the skin, dude.
Skin. Huh. Never thought of that.
Because you need to do you need to do the shadows and all the indents and stuff like that.
Man, I've really changed from normal paints to mainly using washes.
Try out the contrast, dude. It's exactly what
I have one contrast.
Yes. And
I think we all know how the story goes. It went to Love Lily, and I don't want to buy another one.
What happened?
Yeah, it went great. It's an amazing paint. Works very good. But yeah.
Alright, yeah.
I don't know why. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I don't know. I don't want to buy another contrast. For one reason or another, I actually don't know why.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. If your gut is saying like, hey, I don't want to buy some more contrast paints, like that's fine, dude.
Might be because I bought the contrast with the sort of sole purpose of painting some Gene Stealer cultists. And now that that's done, I assume that, yep, no longer need to use contrast.
What color did you get for contrast?
Magos purple.
Ah, the classic.
Is it?
Well, Mattress Purple is one of the good ones. One of the really good ones. There's some pretty bad contrast paints.
Oh.
Which, you know, do not work as intended. Like, at all. It's actually pretty hilarious and comical, like how badly they, you know, kind of like go on. Like, for example, there's some Ultramarines Blue. That's always a fan favorite.
I wonder why.
It's really bad. It's really dark.
It's interesting how Ultramarines Blue existed before the Ultramarines chapter did.
I think there was some. Like, Ultramarine Blue is an actual just normal color, like from the regular, like, you know, normal painter's paint range.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Interesting how lots of people assume that it's meant to be used to paint Ultramarines, when in reality the correct color would be Macragge Blue.
Yes, that is correct. It's just the name, dude. It's just like a...
Yeah.
Like, I, for one, really like to paint my Ultramarines with Talazar Blue, with the really bright, like, blue. Because that's kind of like how I always envision my Ultramarines. Like, they're meant to be like... How do I say this? Like, they're meant to be like larger than life heroic in my eyes, in my imagination. Like, if I were to ever like even do like an Ultramarine kill team, I would convert them up and like have so many like, you know, like, you know, Roman themed, like, you know, insignias on them.
So you reckon orange and yellow contrast well with purple and black?
Oh yeah, I would say so.
Alright. Give me a moment, so I'll be back.
Yep. Coolio, guys. Ooh. So yeah, I've got big plans for these Tyranid warriors. For the folks back home, if you don't know, Tyranid warriors are a troop's choice for Tyranids and they are right now in a very awkward position where they are quite cheap, quite durable, but not durable enough. They have a real issue with being just shot off the table, like if you really concentrate fire. But they've also got like some really good weapons, some really good like range weapons and melee options. Not the best, I would say, but like, you know, they do a very decent job. But the one thing that they're very good at is they're very good at like holding objectives, and they're very good at like keeping synapse with the smaller organisms, because one warrior is 3 wounds, which is quite a lot for a troop's choice, especially like considering like these guys are like what, like I'm proxying them as double scything talon warriors, and yeah, I think they're about 18 points each. So 3 wounds, 18 points each. Like, very cheap. I'm gonna be running them in like, you know, a squad of 9, maximum size squad, and yeah, they're not gonna be like a massive threat. Like, they're there to be an objective holder and to kind of take the middle and to bodyguard, like, you know, maybe my like neurothropes, zoanthropes, or maybe like, you know, some other small, like, you know, smaller characters that I'll be having. And yeah, they're very cheap and cheerful. Their melee stat profile is actually pretty good, especially if they're going up against, like, you know, chaff infantry like Imperial Guardsmen or even Poxwalker to a certain extent, just because yeah, they have the weight of attacks to kind of be a threat to them. Yeah, they're not super fancy. They're not, like, you know, they're not exactly gonna. They're not gonna be the one-hit punch that, you know, if you're looking for that, you can obviously look towards like Genestealers for that. But they are a cog in your Tyranid machine, and that's what I want them to do. They are an integral cog, and I want them to do their jobs. Do the jobs well, which is hold the objective, keep synapse, make sure all the beasts are, you know, and Gribblies are going to be able to do what they're meant to do. Yeah. Woohoo.
Yeah, came back at a good time. Got a bit of insight into your list.
Yeah. No, I've just been talking about like my thoughts on Tyranids and stuff like that, all my Tyranid warriors. And also, you know my thoughts on Tyranid warriors already. Just they're pretty good.
Yeah. I was actually contemplating running some.
The one thing I really dislike is like the kit they come in is not that good. They don't give you enough arm options.
Maybe.
I wanted to make these double Scything Talon warriors, but there aren't enough, you know, Scything Talons in them.
Oh, that's a shame.
And I've used my Scything Talons to do conversions because, like, they're just the right size for like a lot of things.
Except for lictors.
Yeah, except for lictors. But even so, you could probably like extend them using some creative green stuffing. So, you guys want to see? That's what the warriors look like right now. So tomorrow I'll hopefully be using the airbrush to just create some more shadows, really redefine it, maybe add some more colors to the recesses. So a good recessing shadow combination I like to do with the airbrush, and also for a lot of things, is use like a chocolate dark brown color. So this is chocolate chipping, and then in very dark areas I'll go with like a straight black. So with these guys, because I'm going to be doing a more bio-organic feel, I'll also be like glazing over the shadows with volupus pink to make it like, you know, it has veins and, you know, it's doing stuff. But yeah, that'll be the next time I hobby with them, which is probably, you know, some other day. Hopefully tomorrow, hopefully. Whew. Alright, I think that's me done for the night, Ari.
Yeah.
You gonna continue hobbying on your own?
No, I'm probably gonna dip now.
Yeah, that's a good timing then. Well, thank you very much for joining us in this hobby session. This is the first one, and, you know, I think it went pretty well. I think we touched on a few things. And yeah, hopefully we can do this again, like, more frequently, and with hopefully Ari's camera a lot more on, like, you know, on, so we can see his wonderful miniatures.
Hopefully.
Yep, hopefully. All right then. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bill and Ari signing off. Thank you.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.